we ask the President to read and to sign this bill. The President has a choice. Heed the call of the American people, a bipartisan majority of Congress, military experts, to change course or keep our troops committed to an open-ended civil war. The choice is an easy one.
We are deluding ourselves if we think that we walk away, that everything is going to be okay, and that we can just let that region fester and not have any consequences for it, and not have to suffer the consequences of our actions here in Washington. And that is why the President has the principled stand that he does. And he is the Commander-in-Chief with the long-term national security interests of this country in mind with every step of the way.
Well, there you see the two sides. The Senate gave final approval to the war spending bill today. Democrats moving it on. The president's going to veto it. But what does that mean for Democrats on the presidential campaign trail? And what's happening here in Washington? How is that affecting the campaign? You know, today on the Washington Post column page, columnist David Broder had an interesting insight about Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid, finishing the column, quote, "Instead of reinforcing the important proposition defined by the Iraq Study Group that a military strategy for Iraq is necessary but not sufficient to solve the myriad political problems of that country, Reid has mistakenly argued that the military effort is lost, but a diplomatic political strategy can succeed. The Democrats deserve better. The country needs more," and Harry Reid has offered a Senate Majority Leader. Mort, you were at a meeting today. Some reaction from Senator Reid on that?
Senator Reid's reaction to the David Broder column was simply that David Broder has never liked him. He doesn't understand why, and so he didn't really deal with the substance. But this was Reid, Schumer, Durbin, and Patty Murray who were talking about. They weren't revealing what the next steps in the process were over the Iraq funding bill. As to what, after the president vetoes what, but it's clear that ultimately the troops are going to get their money. I mean, they are going to recede. There may be some interim jockeying back and forth, but the troops are going to get their money. The long-term strategy of the Democrats is to win by producing vote after vote after vote after vote and making the Republicans choose between sticking with the president or siding with the public as they see it, and indeed the polls are running in favor of the Democrats, and they think that eventually Republicans will break, just as they are breaking, said Schumer, on the Alberto Gonzales case.
What does this mean, Fred, on the campaign trail? I mean, what's said here, what does that mean for Democrats on the campaign?
Well, I think they're going to still say the same things, and Republicans are. One of the things about the polls on Iraq and the popularity or lack of popularity of the war is they haven't changed much. A little bit in the direction of the president, but not much. There's still a majority in the country that endorses timetables for withdrawing troops and so on. What I think is interesting that happened this week is that Harry Reid has a bigger opponent and more important opponent and more politically sensitive opponent than David Broder or even President Bush. And it's General David Petraeus. Now, Petraeus is over there. He's instituted a new strategy, a counterinsurgency strategy there. He said some progress is being made. He hadn't sugarcoated it. You know, he said, look, there's an al-Qaeda surge as well that we have to deal with. Al-Qaeda's doing more. They're really fighting back. But Harry Reid says, and all the other Democratic leaders should say that, no, this isn't happening. There's no new strategy. There's no progress there. Now, how in the world does Harry Reid know something that General Petraeus, who is leading the troops in Baghdad, says is happening, but Harry Reid says it's not happening? I think, you know, if it's Harry Reid versus Bush, that's one thing. If it's Harry Reid versus General Petraeus, that could be a loser for Harry Reid.
We are now days away from the war is lost statement, but yet Senator Harry Reid's comment is still making news, making columns. Charles, how does this affect Democrats overall?
Well, it leaves them in a quandary. On the one hand, they think there's a political advantage, of course, in reflecting public opinion, the weariness on the war, and wanting eventually a withdrawal of some sort. But on the other hand, they're pretending that this proposal that Reid and the others have passed in the House and the Senate is a strategy of victory. Now, everybody knows that's nonsense. This is a surrender, a retreat, and a withdrawal. And Harry Reid, who said the war is lost, I think has given hints of that, and he's regretting it.
Thank you. Thank you all.